ciao.
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 Prego.
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
Not quite well, actually. The audio is like we are. Okay, now we hear you good.
Please use the URL at the streaming page to also bring in your questions for the speaker. And I would first like to introduce our first student speaker, Jaskaran Anand. He is a performing artist who studies at interface culture at the Art University.
Thank you. It's always a big question how to start the process, but I would just start with a question of that bothers me for a long time, or that triggers my whole process in the understanding of worldly desires, or however. The question is, how does the construction of reality work for an individual, and how is the influence going on a collective and thereby the individual? What I mean by this is when you jump in the concept of transhumanism, or coming from mythological or historical studies, every information is present in the matter, and our body, which is the closest source, the human body, of understanding the information, of perceiving it, is open with sensation and perception, separated by knowledge or ignorance of what we are sensing and perceiving. And this whole story of what goes on inside the organism is what interests me most of the time. But the question still remains that it's just not about me or I or the organism or one body, it's all the bodies that collectively make this Earth, solar system, universe of universes exist. It depends where you draw the line of the matter, where you qualify the body, which matter. And in this concept, when you're going together, I suspect that the desire and the pain of oneself or the collective that's together working decides how the information in the matter is constructed or is influenced. Constructed is quite a word that makes me always think, so I'm in charge. Not really. The information already exists. It's what I grab on and what I don't. And what is according to my own desire of bedroom to design my bedroom, but this concept is very public and is shared by everybody. Is where I want to introduce this project that I'm doing with my technical partner, I would say, Stefan Fuchs. And we're together working on finding physical and digital spaces, digital being the extension of the physical space, of transforming or showing information through different layers and still having this transparency in the interconnectedness of the working of the society. Yeah, that's how I would say. And even if you go on inbetweenprivacy.lilimit.com, there is some impressions of the work, and also very one line that I write, that there is no separation of me, there is a collective I. And all this I've been saying now is somehow related. In 5 minutes I always find a bit less to explain all this, because like blah 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 blah. Okay man, what do you want? What I would say is I desire is the transparency of togetherness, and the more we get aware of our own bodies, because it's all interconnected, the more I presume there will be a certain sense of, let's say, paradise, which is not the paradise as heaven as we imagine, the paradise which has certain pain that we have to go through. But we need to unravel these layers. And this we do today through the performance meeting through Jitsi, and you can go on inbetweenprivacy.lilimit.com/vol2 to participate. And there is the information there where you can go on the chat room link and join us at 5:15. So for 15 minutes we can introduce each other of how it works, and together create an environment of coming live from our private spaces, whatever means private, and overlaying to the digital technology, creating an environment of togetherness. Ja, just always say Albu, sign your name, Conference beitreten. And on 11th is the quantized states, which is same, inbetweenprivacy.lilimit.com/quanta, and the information is there, and I should now stop because I think the time is up.
Yeah, the time is up. Thank you, Jaskaran. Can you make the link a bit bigger for people so they can read it, especially for our online audience? And as Jaskaran mentioned, the performance will be at 5, right?
The performance is at 5:30.
5:30.
But today and tomorrow at 5. And today, if they want to join through the Jitsi meeting, they have to come 5:15, so we can introduce a bit of how the interface works. So
perfect.
It's not a mess.
Cool. Well prepared.
I'm not a Mac user.
Okay. So it is. Let's just repeat it. In between privacy.
.lilimit.
Limit.
lilimit.com/vol2 enter.
Enter.
For
Now,
today.
there we go. Is there anyone from the room here who has questions for Jaskaran? Not yet. Jaskaran, how can you briefly explain us how your theory relates to your performances?
Yes. As I said, the information is inside every human body, and through my 10 years experience of dancing, performing, working with body and meditation, the ideology is, because the performance today starts with a ritual of getting inside the body and then interacting with an interface. So the performance theory, I would not say it goes one-on-one, but it's always a journey of going through it, and how from the inside of when I'm going and interacting, because the body itself is an outer source. And for a performer, as a performer, I go into this process, and with whichever I'm interacting, that's one layer. The second layer is between the musicians and the performer. The third layer is the audience interacting, and together using still the technological tool to bring it together to create a moment. And the only point or source or the point is to go, I'm inside, breathing in and breathing out, and using this breath basically to start the whole process. That's kind of the brief of what I want to say in the theory. Because we all breathe the same air, with different elements of pollution and non-pollution, but it's still the same source.
But you decided to perform online.
Yes.
Can you, because I think this might be interesting for our audience, because most of our activities are now streamed online and your performance is online, but it actually was already online in previous versions and in previous phases of your work. Why?
I mean, not all of them were online.
Okay.
There is obviously the corona regulations that jumped in together, which made us go into the online story. The only reason that most of the things happen online is because of the connection of using the source of technology, of getting in the collective understanding, but it's still an extension. There is physical implementation, which we did, for example, in the tobacco factory in Maine, in Linz. So, but how you can reach other people and they can reach you, and since it already exists, the technology, why not use it to unravel the invisible layers of intimacy and connectedness? So this is why the decision was online, to the point, but it's not the end, or it's not the it's not the beginning either.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we came to the end of the first presentation. A big hand for Jaskaran, please.
Thank you.
And we will continue in a couple of minutes with our next student presenter, Indiara di Benedetto. We take a break of 2 minutes to change files. 5 minutes, sorry, 5 minutes to change some files on the computer. We'll be back in 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Agora Digitalis from the Art University in Linz again. This afternoon, several and partner universities will present their project, and I'm sitting next to Indiara di Benedetto from the Art University in Linz. She studies at Interface Cultures, and she will tell us about her project that is also exhibited here in the Art University in Linz. It's yours.
Hello, I'm Indiara di Benedetto, and I realized for the Ars Electronica project this old device that is called, I take inspiration for this old device called Ragusa, that was used as a mnemonic device into this ancient tribe. And actually they were using this old device for telling stories connected to the society in which this device was developed. So actually it was, for me it was very interesting to look to this device, because also, you can see also into the slide, they built this object in wood, and also they were placing this object, and there were just few people that they were called men of memory, and they were the only figures that were able to read all the meanings that were behind each object displayed on the wood board.
Check your microphone, it looks like it's not on.
Okay, sorry for this. And yeah, so I decided to take inspiration for my project. That And yeah, I decided to connect my research related to human faces, and I decided to realize this mysterious object that I'm the only one that is really able to read it. And actually, to each of these buttons, this object is made with wood, basically, and also stones. And when you touch each of the elements, you can be able to create some images. So, and this is very interesting because actually, yesterday I was also into the opening, and there were the people that were they were coming to see the board, and they were also asking, what is this, how is working, because basically it's not a device that we are so used to see, no? And also because, for example, I didn't put any instruction into the device, so I'm also interested in seeing people how can approach to this, and also one thing that I'm really interested in is also that how can memorize information connected to the objects that are displayed on this. So after a while, I also noticed that some of the people present into the exhibition, they started memorizing that, for example, there is an element that is adding elements into the canvas, and there are some buttons that, for example, make the people able to move the element.
Indiara's work is still in the exhibition at the Art University, so please pay a visit. We're going to take a little break of 5 minutes for our next speaker, and that is Nomi Sasaki. Thank you very much.
the value of our biometric data. And also because this example was in a wired environment. But nowadays, we are dealing with the generation alpha, which means the babies that are born from 2010. And we have to be aware that this is the first group that are immersed in technology their entire life since they are born. Like, they are taken care by cameras, the parents take care of them, monitoring with cameras, and they are always being connected to some device. And actually you have to be also aware that 1/3 of internet users are children, and that the cell phone is the most used interface to be connected. So we are talking about children that are using internet, but also an interface that has a lot of biometric sensors, like many of them. So somehow I wanted to make a project that makes children a little bit more aware about how they are constantly producing data. And also I was like really in this text that I found, digital nativity should be complemented and balanced with a digital responsibility. And for what children has to be aware and has to be somehow educated. My interest for children is because also I worked as producer and cultural management, and I realized that children need to have a cultural offer more related to technology, not about technology, related about also about topics. And then also because I fell in love in 2014 with this format, the micropuppet theater, the Lambe Lambe theater. So I wanted to put all this information in one project. And I also was, in my video artwork, I was also working with microrealities and how these microrealities can be reinterpreted in big scale, for example, in that second image in a concert, in an opera house. And I started during the lockdown because I started my project in March, and I started with I had at home, which was a cardboard box. That's how I started to design, and this is part of the development process, the electronics, the scenography, the sensors. This is my first test with a child. So at the end, I'm using 3 microcontrollers, 1 monitor, LEDs for the lighting design, a sound sensor that when you blow it, you activate the fan, a heartbeat sensor that it's reading your heartbeat, and you move the waves of the ocean with electromagnets, and 3 photoresistors that, depending how close you are from the box, you are making shine blinking the stars. So the idea from this micropuppet theater, which is just 3.5 minutes, is that somehow give this message, my eyes make the stars shine, my breathing is as strong as the wind, and my heart moves the ocean. And make this biometric data that we are not too much aware, make it visible for children, and make them aware that they are always producing biometric data, and that this biometric data can be a source for something else. Yes, so this is here yesterday in Ars Electronica in our exhibition. And this is how it looks inside.
Yes, thank you. A big hands.
Thank you.
We have time for a few questions. If people from the room here have questions, please let us know. And also people online can put their question in the Etherpad. I can start off with a question. How do you measure, or how do you know that the children are really starting to be aware of sharing their data, biometric data, with you after their experience with the beautiful story?
That's a great question that I am also looking forward to the answer.
Okay.
I just the premiere was yesterday, and there are not many children public nowadays in arts.
Uh-huh.
So I'm really like hungry to see children here around. Uh, but yes, I really would like to bring this project to, for example, schools, kindergartens, and after to show this personal performance, I really would like to have some talk with them, like exchanging, what do you think the cat was doing, or what do you think was the little animal at the end, or what do you think are the tiny round things that were glowing on the on the floor, that then this tiny animal pick it up, because many people, because I just talk with adults now, I didn't have children for as spectators, unfortunately. They were like telling me so different things. Like, there's a mouse? No, it's a fish. Oh, it's a fish that is flying. And there are steps? No, there are coins. Like, oh my God, there are so many interpretations, and that is also interesting how they see it, and go through. Yes. So I think children will be more interested in it.
So, are you planning a tour with the work to schools, or is that still something you have to think of?
I really would like, I designed the project to be mobile, so I can put everything in my luggage. And also my dream is to be part of real puppet festivals,
Ah,
to bring this piece to traditional puppet festivals, because I think it's also important to bring this kind of topic to that kind of environments. Yes, and I am really curious about how the other puppeters can tell about this, even if I am a amateur one. But yes, and I really would like to see more cultural offer for children's in the traditional field that can talk about this technological environment that they are living nowadays. No, and I also created like this. Like, I wanted to use the puppets because I think that traditional cultural offer, like puppets, theater, clown, cinema, they touch another part of the human being that sometimes technology can't, somehow.
Okay.
And I think that we have to see the way to blend this in the children cultural offer. Yes.
Especially in the alpha generation
Yes.
or younger, the next
Yes.
one.
Yes.
Okay. Are there any questions from the room? No. I would all like to invite you to look at the project that is exhibited in the Art University. And please, if you know any children who would be interested, take them along, because it's a real nice experience. And as you could hear, Nomi is really interested to have feedback from the children. If there's no children around, pretend you are going back to your childhood yourself, because it's a nice piece. Thank you. We have a big hand for Nomi again.
Thank you.
We take a 5-minute break, and then we will be back with our next guest, Octavian, Albu, and in 5 minutes. Thank you. Agora Digitalis, the platform for students, researchers, and the audience to share their ideas, their works in progress. And this afternoon, we have a special guest from the University for Theatre and Film in Bucharest. His name is Octavian Albu. He will share his work with us. If you have questions, please go to the Etherpads via the website, the streaming website link, and come up with questions for Octavian. And Octavian, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So basically, I'm coming from the punk scene in Bucharest, and I've always been fascinated by the violence in a non-violent way that takes place in the performances there. So, for example, people are like jumping on one another, or like I don't know, they're doing some mosh pit and stuff like that. And I tried to think how to integrate technology into this whole concept, and I think the nice part of the Corona thing that happened is that people, I think it could become an outlook for people to interact with, because you cannot be so close physically to one another, right? So basically what I did is I have a camera and a microphone that I use them in an unorthodox way. So the camera maps out the movement of the people, and depending on their position, that movement synthesizes the sound of the performance itself. And the microphone basically is a pitch to MIDI converter, which means that you can basically shout or sing into that microphone, kind of in the same style at hardcore punk shows where you grab the mic and sing with the singer, and you're allowed to do that. And it converts it into a virtual instrument that could be anything. And I really like the simplicity of this of this act, because I want this technology to kind of be accessible and for kids to use it. That's why I chose a microphone and a camera for it, because I think they're like super accessible objects that anyone could use, any artist could use. So that's my thing.
Oh, cool. And can you show a little bit about the behind the scenes, how you made the work?
Well,
no, whatever. What can we expect? Yeah. Okay, this is cool. Because this afternoon you're gonna have your performance. I think it's 6:45. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So all of you who's interested in looking at your performance, some can join us in Linz and others can join us online. And for those who are not familiar with the genres up in Bucharest, can you tell us a little bit more about the specific genres that are catching your interest?
Basically, but I think nowadays this idea of like dancing in a more violent way at shows is being co-opted by, I don't know, trap music as well. By more, it kind of has a mainstream appeal now, which is good. I like people connecting with, not now because now we have a pandemic, but I like the idea of like people just getting close to one another and just having this like sense of community with one another by doing this. So yeah.
And how can you translate or kind of work around this whole social distancing and the COVID-19 rules with your work? Because that must be a difficult one.
Yeah, it is. It is a bit difficult, but what I'm trying to do is like have all the people that are performing wear masks because they have to. And the workaround is that basically only one person can come through the camera and get the sound synthesized, and one person can sing at that microphone, and they'll be all wearing masks. So it's kind of like a more distant. You know, this is like in comparison to like in an actual show when somebody would grab the mic singer, and that would be much more direct contact.
I see what you mean. I didn't receive any questions online so far. And in the room, I don't think there is any either. Is there something you would like to add or maybe to promote your piece for this evening? Because I think you really can use some audience.
Yeah, exactly. This is like a prototype basically, and this is also part of my masterpieces. So it would be great for people who are coming here and experiencing this to have the chance to like talk to them for 5 minutes, maybe I don't know, do some vocal samples with them and stuff, and to have some of the words and put them into my thesis if they want to. And I don't know, it's unexpected. I don't know exactly what the result is gonna be, but I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's not so much experimental music, it's more like dancey at the same time. I don't know, it gets you more connected. So if you wanna come tonight, we can, I don't know, it's gonna be cool.
So it's going to be fun tonight,
Yeah, yeah.
6:45 at Strafsache Gallery in Linz. So a big hand. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we will have a very short. Oh no, we don't have to have a break, or do we have a break? I'm just talking with our 2 minute. Yeah, 2 minute break, and then we move on to our next presentation, and that's by Gabriele Ragusa from the Polytechnic University in Milano, and that will be an online presentation. So stay with us. In a couple of minutes, we're back. Thank you. University Linz with a next group of presenters in the Agora Digitalis program. And I would like to introduce our next presenters. They're online from Milano. And I'm actually a little scared of pronouncing their names incorrectly. So it's Siamon Bai, Gabriele Ragus, and Sinyu Su. From the University Polytechnic in Milano, and you're going to give an online presentation. All people who are online are kindly asked to put the questions in the Etherpad. The link can be found on the streaming page. I'll give the floor to you, so please share your screen, and I'll be back with some questions and hopefully some questions from the audience. So please, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I tried. I heard. Now? Okay. Do you hear me? Yeah. I'm about to share my screen. Well, I'm Gabriele Ragusa, and I'm here with my two colleagues, Shaman Bai and Zinzo. And we are about to present our project Untitled. And first of all, we would like to say thank you for the invitation that we received from Art University of Linz. And also thank you to our professor, Luca Guerrini, that followed us. And during this year, in one of the courses of our professor Guerrini, we were asked to design a little space that follows the philosophy of a contemporary artist, and in our case, it was Donald Judd. Then we would like to put some way of our days that we have this topic now for the coronavirus, that we have to respect social distancing. So we wanted to put this aspect in our project. And from these two aspects, we create our project that is called Untitled. Why we use this name? Because following the philosophy of Donald Judd, he said that his artworks must not have a real title, because it's up to the audience to understand what this art it is.
Okay, so the space we designed is a module where people can hang out 2 by 2, and it can be repeated throughout the green areas of any park, but with a certain order that respects Donald Judd's philosophy of the disposition of the elements. So in line with the theme of distancing for the pandemic situation. And the starting point of this project was the artist's aesthetic and intentions matured in the last part of his artistic life, especially with essay-specific objects, dealing with his idea of 3-dimensional works. And the single module follows the artist's intention towards the perfect line geometrical shapes. And each part of the structure is made of wood, leather, and leather painted with red paint, which is, according to the artist, the most powerful color, and is the one that able to accentuate the shapes and forms. And moreover, it creates a strong contrast with the nature surroundings, just like the other artists' late works.
So the project presents itself as a cube of 3 meters per 3 meters per 3 meters. The structure starts from a frame that follows the edges of a cube, which is, according to Judd, his favorite geometric shape. Then we added a flooring and a roofing on the structure. At the center, we have a table and 2 seats, which creates personal space in a public space, while respecting social distancing rules. These elements recall pure geometries in their shape. And finally, we decided to put on the upper part bracing for reason of stability, but at the same time to maintain the philosophy of symmetry and to maintain geometric rigor, we decided also to add them in the lower part of the structure.
And to conclude, this project is an attempt to not lose the connection between people in this period. And this period, we are asked to follow rigid rules, and this question may feel as uncomfortable and disconnected, disoriented, but more essentially, we feel disconnected physically by each other. So here it is a portrait how art, design, and society are always linked together in a way or another. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much. I'm just gonna double check, but we don't have any questions in. No, that's not there yet, but who knows? Maybe they come later. I have the installation for people who are around in Linz is exhibited in the courtyard of the Art University in Linz. So actually we tried the installation already. We sat down and I was just wondering why you choose to only see two persons. Can somebody tell a little bit about the choice to have a social gathering of only two persons?
No.
No, they didn't hear it. Okay, can you hear me? Yeah? Okay, maybe I should repeat my question because it looks like you didn't hear it before. No, okay, cool. The installation is actually to be tried out at the Art University here. It's in the courtyard, so we had the opportunity to experience the installation. And for people who are around in Linz, we kindly invite you to come along at the Art University and give it a try and sit down relaxed in this untitled project. I have one question though for you as the makers, as the designers. Why did you decide to have seats for only two persons? Because especially in times of Corona, it's really nice to gather with more than two persons. Can you tell us a little bit more about that choice you made?
Yes, we want to emphasize this aspect of the social distancing. So basically, the more effective interaction with people is to have two person that interact each other. But we also think about that problem that we would like maybe to be with more than one person, sorry. And for that, we create a scheme, as we have shown, that it is a model that we can repeat in a park in a really strict, rigid way. So we can maintain, again, this social distancing. And for this, just it's like a performance art because you are just two people that are sit one in front another, and they feel very very isolated but they also can understand that in that situation they are protected. They can speak together, they can take off their masks. So we decided it for that.
Can I add two words?
Mm.
Hello?
I guess yes.
Yes, please.
Okay. So the fact that the main problem right now is the fact that we feel disconnected, and we think that there's the need to feel a connection, a physical connection, but at the same time, the connection is different between a lot of people and between two people because the discourse between two people is more deep in confront of chatting with different people at the same time. So that's why we decided also to put just two seats. Yeah.
But do I understand it correctly from you that actually you would like to have a whole series of untitled installations in the city? It's not only one. One installation can host two persons, but then we should imagine the whole city to be kind of packed with these kind of all parks with untitled projects, right?
Right.
We have to wrap up. I also would like to invite you to join our panel on Saturday, as that will be dealing with urban interventions post pandemic with several of your professors. So I hope to meet you online again Saturday afternoon. And I would like to thank you so much for your beautiful contribution. And we'll let you know that we are enjoying your installation here. And I hope more people will come by to see the piece in the courtyard of the Art University. Thank you and take care. Bye-bye. We'll be back in 5 minutes, approximately. Is that true? Maybe 10. Thank you.